Welcome everyone. Today's topic is advanced metrics for MLS searching. Okay, so now let's dive into it. What's MLS and what's off market? So MLS stands for multi-listing services. That's pretty much where everyone lists their property. It's too competitive right now. It's dried up. It's very difficult to get a deal here. However, you can still find great deals. So in fact, we have Brian on the line. Brian, can you please tell us a little bit about your property that you chose?
Yes, Hugo. Property was an REO, and
what's the address, Brian?
551 Bird Street.
551 3rd Street.
Bird, B-I-R-D Street, 60123.
Okay, this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So please tell us a little bit about this property, and then I'm going to show everyone how is it that you need to look at the MLS and the best strategies to analyze deals. So go ahead, Brian.
So basically, I kind of familiar with the area because I work in Elgin. So I kind of familiar with what the housing market is like over there. And I came up, the ARV was about 175. I noticed that the house has been in the market for a long time. And so that was a good sign, maybe that the seller is a little bit desperate. But it was an REO, and there were multiple offers. I guess my offer wasn't the highest, but it had the best terms. So the REO picked my my offer. The original listing price was 159. They dropped it to 139. I made an offer. My initial offer was 109, and they countered offer 130, and then I countered offer 120. They countered offer 125, and then I just countered 121.5, and they took my offer.
Perfect. Okay, that sounds great. Now I just briefly show the pictures to the audience. I mean, it needs very little work. It's a small property, so it's 2 bedrooms, bath. Okay, I had to mute Brian just a little bit. It was coming with some background noise. So Brian made an offer for the MLS. So he came up with an ARV of about 175. Brian, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, the ARV that you came up with, okay, about 175. So everyone, I'm going to show you what the numbers are going to look like. So ARV 175, how much is going to be the rehab for this property, Brian?
Just new windows for the most part. So less than 10,000. I'm gonna do some
10,000 for the rehab.
Yeah, or less.
Okay, perfect. And then, so now tell us how you came up with the 121 offer that got accepted.
I just did, you know, the ARV times 70% minus just you know, a little bit of rehab. So I just came up with the 121.5 as my best.
Minus rehab. Okay, so that's absolutely the right formula. So you take the 175 ARV times 70%. That's about 130. So let me just do the math here, Brian, because there's a lot of background noise. So I'm going to do 175 times 70%. It's 122 minus 10% rehab. It comes to be exactly 121. Okay, so indeed, he got a great deal. Now, as far as the terms, what were the terms of your offer, Brian, that it made it so attractive to the seller?
I bumped up my earnest money deposit. My initial earnest money was like 1,000. I bumped it up to
Yeah.
10,000, and
Okay.
closed in 10 days.
10 days.
No
Okay.
wave inspection, and yeah, I think wave inspection and wave appraisal. I think because it was cash, so almost a
Okay.
cash purchase.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much, Brian. So, for those of you who don't know, Brian, it's part of Cash Flow Inner Circle. So that's a group that we recently started. For those of you who want to focus on rentals, so now MLS is too competitive, right? So in order for you to stand out, you've got to need to do two things. You're going to need to bump up, as Brian did, earnest money. Okay, 10,000. And obviously, when you're using a 7.0 contract, you have 5 days for attorney review and inspection. Brian, did you waive the inspection contingency or not? Did you put it as is?
Correct, as is, and I had my guy that came out and looked at it, just make sure property is okay, nothing, no big issues or anything like that. And knowing the history that the neighbor next door said that the lady that was an elderly lady was living there, and she got sick. She ended up in the nursing home. The house actually, the pipes burst and the house flooded. So they had an insurance claim, and the insurance came in and fixed up the whole place, basically, except for the windows. And that's why the windows
And
needs to be changed.
appliances, right? I see that appliances are,
Correct.
I think, are they? They're missing.
Correct.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
friends, thank you very much, Brian, and congratulations. This is absolutely the right way. So let's just reverse engineer exactly what Brian did, okay? So let's assume that you're a newbie and then you're trying to buy properties from the MLS. There are certain things that you're going to need to address. And then Brian absolutely made the right choices. You've got to bump up the earnest money. So you have to buy properties as is. When you get a great deal, you're not going to be able to get any credits from the seller, especially in a seller's market. So it's going to be as is. Then you have the attorney review inspection contingency that is 5 days after you execute. You have an executed contract, meaning after the seller signs the contract as well. So when you know you're going to close on the property and the numbers make sense, you are able to pretty much bump up not only the earnest money, but waive the inspection contingency. Pretty much that if you don't close on the property, guess what's going to happen to your earnest money? You're losing your earnest money. And then he closed in 2 weeks. Now, friends, to be able to close in 2 weeks, you're going to be able to do it either with cash or private money lender. In this case, Brian was able to use a private money lender, which is like paying cash for it. You're just using somebody else's cash. Okay. Now, the first thing that you need to understand before even you jump in the property, right, is the area. As Brian said, he works in Elgin. He knows the area, right? So you need to understand whether Elgin supports a flipping or rental market. Once you understand that, then you need to look at the numbers, right? Location is critical. Elgin, he understands he's going to keep this as a rental. Now, location is very critical, okay? So this is west of the river. So it's the better area of Elgin, okay? East of the river, it's not bad, but it's not as good as where this property is located, okay? And then you want to make sure that you are in a quiet street. So you are not near a busy street, cemetery, train tracks, rivers. Now, by the way, did you check the floodplain on this, Brian?
No, I didn't. It didn't look like it's
Okay.
a floodplain because it's a higher area.
It's on a, yeah, there's a hill. Yeah, absolutely. So you have the river, and then on the west side, it's on a hill. So great point. nothing to worry about on the floodplain. So now the next thing is that you need to understand the numbers, right? How much is your max allowed offer? Okay, so you're gonna need to know the ARV of the property and multiply that times 70%. Now, why do you multiply that times 70%? Very simple, because if you were to do a flip, you are going to need to make at least a 20% net profit on the flip. Now, what happens to the other 10%? The other 10% is for your carrying cost, okay? That is the cost of money. So like when you borrow money from a private money lender, you're gonna need to pay interest-only loan, a couple of points up front, and it's expensive money, right? So you're looking at about 12% interest rate. So in this case, here, I want to make sure that you see the board. So that's where the 10% is coming from. That is why you need to make an offer of ARV times 70%. That accounts for 20% of your net profit plus 10% carrying cost and minus the rehab. So as you mentioned, as Brian mentioned, the rehab on this property is very, very minimal. So you're going to need to put appliances and windows, okay? So it's pretty much ready to move in. That is why people, they got a lot of offers. So he came in at the right price, knowing that the rehab was going to be very, very minimum. And guess what, friends? This is the ideal property, okay? So you want to buy properties under 150,000, and most importantly, you want to focus on cosmetic rehabs, okay? Because the money is not on the rehab. The money is on doing simple deals, right? Simple rehabs, because then imagine your risk, right? When you step into this property, it's already painted, right? I mean, the windows, they look dated, right? But other than that, the kitchen is ready, except for the appliances. Look at the bedrooms, right? 2 bedrooms. It's got central air. You can see the vents. So the only thing is the windows, right? But other than that, look, even the bathroom, everything is fully done for you on this property, right? So the basement, you might use to give it a fresh look, you might need to paint it, okay? The flooring, the wall, but other than that, it just looks amazing. So this is a great deal. So congratulations, Brian. So I just wanted to show you how you reverse engineer a deal and what you need to do today in this economy to get a property on the contract through MLS. Okay, so I'm gonna mention this again for you to apply in the near future. The only thing that is gonna make you stand out of the competition is closing in about 2 weeks, as is, earnest money 10,000. That's gonna put you on top of the stack, okay? Obviously, you need to do your due diligence on the property. An ideal case scenario is a live rehab. I mean, this is a home run deal, right? Finding these type of properties, it's so difficult, because when you find properties in the MLS that are REOs, guess what? Over 90% of the times they need over 35,000 in rehab. So this is just an amazing deal. Okay, so congratulations, Brian. This is a home run deal in the better side of Belgium, live rehab. So he's gonna be able to turn this around like super fast. I mean, he can do the rehab on this in about a week's time. It's super fast. I mean, right now, what's the date? Today is the 8th. You can technically have these for rent. Let me pull up the calendar. So assuming you start the rehab, I mean the windows, you may need permits for the windows. Go ahead, Brian.
Correct. Yeah, we ordered the windows, and because it's custom, it takes 2 weeks to get the windows.
2 weeks, it's pretty fast. Usually it's about 2-3 weeks, more like 3 weeks, but that's awesome, right? But you can still rent it, right? So
and then the other
appliances. Go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing I want to add, it's got a walk-up loft, like a loft area, like a finished attic. So instead of a storage or loft, I'm actually gonna make that a bedroom as well. So we're gonna add couple outlets and add a vent to make it, like almost like a Lego bedroom, and then the
livable
closet.
space.
Yeah, so it'll be a 3-1 instead of a 2-1. It's like add value.
That's amazing. That's an incredible idea. Now, the stairs to go up to the attic, are they the ones that you pull down from the ceiling, or what are the stairs to go up to the attic like?
No, it's just regular stairs. I think
Oh,
because
that's
it's a pre-existing stairs. I mean, like if it's right now, it's not within code because the stairs are kind of steeper and it's narrower. It's not as wide. Normal stairs should be what, like 36 wide. This one is only like it's narrower. So
okay. That's an amazing idea. But still, you're going to be under, I would say, with the windows. How much are you paying for the windows?
windows are $300 each, and there's 9 windows in the house, and then the 2 windows in the garage. So 11 windows. It's about 3,300 that's installed already.
Okay, plus appliances, I would say
Yeah.
another 3,500, plus the cosmetic rehab. So yeah, you're looking at, yeah, absolutely, somewhere in the 10, 11,000. So you're going to be right on the ball.
Yeah.
So really, really great job on this property. Um, so what we're going to do next is, let me go back to the MLS. Friends, so now in order for you to get these type of deals, you have to set up searches, right? So I'm going to show you in ChicagoDealVault how to go about setting up searches. So you're going to go under your settings. It's super simple. Here, user settings, and then click on deal alerts setting. Okay, so in here, this is how we do it. We just want single family home, max price 200,000, and then you put in the areas. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna run algorithms on the back end, and then just flag the good deals that make sense from the MLS. Okay, so we have right here top flipping and rental markets. In fact, we do not have Elgin in our list. Okay, uh, despite the fact we own a four flat in Elgin, in the east side of Elgin. So this is how simple it is for you to set up deal alerts, and then under my deal alerts tab, you're gonna be able to see the properties that come your way. Okay, so once you see a property that makes sense, you're gonna be able to make offers right from here. But if you're working with a broker, that's your case, right, Brian? You're working with a broker, they can submit an offer on your behalf. Okay, but the cool thing is that once you identify a property that makes sense, location is good, then you have to, in this pandemic, close in about 2 weeks. That means that you're going to need to pay cash or using private money lenders, and bump up your earnest money to 10,000. Oftentimes before pandemic, people were putting down about 10%, or no, actually 1% of the purchase price. So if it's about $100,000, they're putting 1,000, 1,500. That's not going to do it anymore. So bump up to 10,000 as is, close in 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. So now with this new group that we started, the cash flow inner circle, guess what? Incredible news that I have for you. We've been able to raise 1 million in cash to fund your deal. So check this out. You have the deals, we have the funding. Okay, so it's the terms are 12% interest rate, 6-month term, 2 points. So this is pretty standard for private money lending. Okay, so we're gonna give you 100% of the purchase price up to 150,000. Okay, so in this case, he bought it for 121. Okay, so that'll be 100% of the purchase price and 100% of the rehab up to 20,000. So for instance, Brian's property would qualify for 100% of the purchase price and 100% of the rehab. So he's going to need about 135. So this is an example that we would fund 100% of both the purchase price and the rehab. So you have to put zero money out of pocket. Of course, we're going to vet the deal, right? We're going to need to make sure that you do your due diligence as far as the ARV and the rehab. But I mean, to come up with the scope of work for this property is going to be super easy, right? Because there's so little to do on it. So the big thing on this property is to come up with an accurate ARV, because you're going to need to have 25% equity on the back end. So right now, Brian is probably borrowing 121 plus 10, so he's borrowing about 122, 125. Okay, so 125 now. You have to multiply 175 times, which is the ARV, times 75. So I don't know where I left my phone. Let's just do this right here in front of you. So I'm going to say the ARV is 175 times 75%. Okay, so it's 131,000. Now he's going to be able to refinance this property if he decides to keep this as a rental, which I believe it makes a lot of sense, because this is a home run deal. So he's going to be able to refinance this property for about 131,000. With 131,000, not only is he going to be able to pay 100% of the purchase price, but also 100% of the rehab plus closing cost. So guess what? He's going to have zero money stuck on the deal, okay? And then he's going to end up with at least 25% equity on the back end, which is required by the banks when you refinance, okay? They're going to want you to have at least 25% equity to refinance. So that is why he's going to be able to tap into 75% of the ARV to pay off the private money lender and the rehab, which is 131,000, more than enough to pay 100% of the purchase price and 100% of the rehab. So the property that Brian has under contract right now, I mean, closed on the property, not under contract, he already closed on it. It's a home run deal. That's the perfect example that you're going to be able to buy and hold and have zero money stuck on the property. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a perfect example of how you reverse engineer a deal from the MLS. And now in this competitive environment, what it takes for you to get MLS properties on the contract. I mean, we've made multiple offers on different properties we identified. However, we've been outbid left and right, okay? And the problem is that there are many investors who do not understand the numbers, right? So it's very, very hard because there's not enough room, not enough meat in the bone to make any money or to be able to refinance when you overpay for the property. So what Brian did is he did not overpay for the property. So I'm going to repeat this again. He did not overpay for the property, but he bumped up and he enhanced the terms of his offer. As is, 10,000 earnest money, 2-week closing, okay? So I'm 100% confident and positive that there were many more offers that were a lot higher than his. I mean, just think about it, right? If I go back to the MLS, it was listed for 159. They dropped the price to 129. I mean, 139. So almost like 140, right? So he got it under contract for 121. So like 20,000 below listing. I mean, that's huge. But that's what you need to do when you know the numbers. And of course, the terms of the offer. So I can bet you that there were many investors who do not understand the numbers, that they were willing to pay 140,000 for this property. I mean, I can guarantee that 140,000 for this property, even above asking price, 140,000, but they were not chosen. Why? Because their earnest money was not 10,000, because they wanted an inspection on the property, and because they were not going to use probably cash. They might use conventional lending for this property. Conventional lending for this property may even work because it's in such a great shape that any conventional lender might lend on this property because it's almost in livable condition except for the appliances. Okay, other than that, it's just in impeccable condition. So congratulations, Brian. This is a home run deal. So Awesome. Let me see, Randy, it's going to be
Thank
a
you.
rental. He needs to know what the cash flow is. You can't spend equity. He needs to know ROI and cap rate. Okay, so the rent on this property, let me pull it up. So in ChicagoDealVault, we can tell you how much you're gonna be able to rent this property for. So let me go to the rental calculator. So you're gonna be able to rent this property for about $1,500. Okay, so it's gonna cash flow nicely, right? Because the tenant is gonna pay pretty much for your mortgage, insurance, all utilities, and you're gonna cash flow at least 250 on this. Have you done your cash flow analysis, Brian, on this?
Yes. So
How much?
so cash flow is 360, cap rate 10.1, ROI is 124.8%.
Yeah, no, this is a home run deal. So I was estimating at least 250 in cash flow. So friends, this is just the perfect example of a home run deal. And that's what most investors should focus on. These simple, boring houses, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, or 3-bedroom, 1 bath, ideally brick, but it doesn't matter if it's frame. We prefer no basement because of flooding, but this one has basement. A lot of people like basement. It won't make much of a difference when it comes to renting. Okay, so great job. Okay, so any other? Oh, Sam is saying, suppose Brian hold the Harmony lender for 3 months. How much money he has to pay? Okay, so he's gonna pay about. So if he's borrowing 130,000, let's say 135,000, he's gonna pay 1% of that every single month. So he's gonna need to pay like 1350 every single month. But I mean, on this property, he can turn this around and be able to rent it for April 1st. I mean, it's like no-brainer. April 1st, when the windows come, he can just put the new windows and that's it. He can just tell the tenants or whenever he does the advertising that there's going to be new windows on the property. So it's going to be super simple to rent. Right now, the rental market is very strong. Okay. Now, and he has no skin on the game. Absolutely, he doesn't have any skin on the game because when he refinances, he's going to be able to pay the private money lender 100% and have zero money stuck on the property. So this is how you're going to be able to build a rental empire, having very little money stuck on the property or nothing, and using other people's money. So this is just an amazing example. Are there any other questions on the line? So friends, I want to make sure that you replicate Brian's success. I'm going to send you the link to the cash flow inner circle right here. So if you're interested in being part of it, please join us on Sunday. Next Sunday, we have a meeting and I'm gonna send you the profiling form for the cash flow inner circle via the chat. Okay, so if you're interested, send us a form. We already have over 60 people as part of the cash flow inner circle group, but this was a game changer, right? That we're gonna be able to fund your transaction. Okay, so long it makes sense, we're gonna vet the deal and boom. So I wanna make sure that you are able to replicate these type of deals, whether it's off market or MLS. By the way, talking about off market, we have a wholesale deal that I wanna present to you. I'm sure most of you saw this via the chat, but I'm gonna pull it up on the screen in just a second, okay? Are there any other questions on the line that we can address?
Yeah, Hugo, this is Randy again. Just wondered, what is the tax, property taxes without the senior exemption and without the homeowner's exemption? Because that can make a huge difference, and a lot of investors don't understand that.
Absolutely, great point, Randy. So the taxes are $2,600, and I believe that is without the tax exemption because that's fairly reasonable.
No, on the MLS, it states that there's a homeowner's exemption and a senior's exemption, so that taxes could be equal with that.
Yeah, let me pull that up right now. I want to make sure that we're looking at the same thing. Let me see. So Brian, how much do U.S. property tax amount? Yeah, where do you exemptions? I don't see any exemptions, Randy. Do you see
It's on the
any? I'm
MLS.
looking at.
Well, on the MLS listing that you have, it's got down that there's a senior's exemption and a homeowner's exemption. You see that on your MLS listing? Now, of course, you got to verify. You can't assume that because that makes a huge difference.
Right.
Right under the tax.
I just can't see it on the MLS.
Yeah, it's right.
Showing.
It's right under the tax amount. See that? Right under the pin.
Oh, I see it right here, right. So, but even, you know, if it has a homeowner's exemption and senior exemption, I think this is still kind of high, 2,600. The reason why I'm telling you that is because we have a 4 flat in Elgin and we're paying about 8,000 in taxes, no exemptions. So I'm thinking that this may go up probably to 35, probably about $1,000. I don't think this is going to hit 4,000 in taxes. So I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. It might tap into your monthly cash flow about $100 per month, 150 at the most. But that's a great point, Randy, that you made. So the first thing that also Brian is going to need to do is to appeal the taxes. Okay, super, super important. In ChicagoDealVault, Brian, let me just point this out. We have tax appeal attorneys. Okay, have you done that in the past, Brian? So under preferred partners, just go to tax appeal right here. We have a couple of attorneys, actually one attorney, John. Yeah, perfect. So he's going to be able to appeal your taxes. Okay, and they do it every other year. And I see that someone is interested in the wholesale inner circle. So I'm going to send the link for that. If you're interested in the wholesale inner circle, here is the link I'm sharing with all of you. Okay. So, but great point, Randy. So are there any other questions on this transaction? So taxes, great point. You always need to pay attention, especially certain neighborhoods. Because taxes can be a deal breaker, right? Anything over like 8,000, 9,000, it's going to tap into your positive monthly cash flow. Super important. Thank you for bringing that up, Randy. Are there any other questions on the line?
Hi, Go.
Hi, is this Sam? Yeah,
Yes.
Go ahead, Sam.
I have a question. I was trying to register on the DealVault. There are too many packages. What are the differences? I mean, is every package covers different area or different items or different properties?
No, what are you trying to do, Sam? You're gonna register for what?
Yeah, I was looking for the property to rehab.
Okay, so we can get in touch with you just to walk you through the process of either finding a property or signing up. So I'll make a note so that Phil calls you tonight.
Yeah, I talked to Fit today, and then it says select your area. Is that I mean, if there is nothing in that area, can be changed or switched later on?
Yeah, absolutely. You can update the areas because what we're gonna do is we're gonna have our deal analyst source deals for the areas that you're interested in.
Okay, great, thank you.
Oh, no problem. So friends, I want to show you up on the screen. We just got a property in the contract from the wholesale team. So I want to show these to all of you. We just right here. So we've got a property in Austin on the contract. So we are wholesaling this property for 105. So I'm gonna post this via the chat for those of you who are interested. We have a 3D tour on this property, and then we are giving you all the information from pictures. We've done the flip and rental analysis, the ARV, the comps, it's all right here, even a 3D tour, okay? So these are the pictures and then the flip and rental analysis of this property right here. So if anybody interested, please let us know. We even included the scope of work on this property. The 3D tour is at the very top of the PDF. It says 3D tour. Okay, when you click on it, it will automatically open up a 3D tour that you can walk from the comfort of your home, right? So here you can move the mouse on the computer and then you can walk the property, go downstairs, go upstairs, go to the different rooms. So check this out and let us know if you're interested. So this came from our wholesale inner circle team over the weekend. So please let us know if you are interested, because we're gonna be able to fund the deal if you are interested, okay? Are there any other questions on the line? What's the funding rate? So the funding rate is the same, Jeff. It's going to be 12%. Let me pull it up on the screen. So these are the terms: 12% interest rate and 6-month term. So I just pasted that on the chat. So the only difference is if the rehab goes over 20,000, then we're gonna fund 90% of the purchase price. So let me give an example. The property price is 100,000, but the rehab is 50,000. So we're gonna give you 50,000 for the rehab, but instead of giving you 100% of the purchase price, we're gonna give you 90% of the purchase price. So 90% of 100,000 is 90,000. So you're gonna need to put 10% down, or 10,000, meaning that we're gonna give you 140 and then you put 10,000. Okay, but the term is the same: 12% interest, 2 points, and a 6-month term. Okay, so super powerful. If you guys are interested in joining the cash flow inner circle, we have a 10-week module right here at the bottom that it's super powerful. You know, we walk you through the steps A through Z, blueprint on how to build a rental empire. Okay, so we just started about 2 weeks ago, so we're still working on module number 1, essentials for success. So I look forward to having you this coming Sunday. It's going to be super powerful. Okay, are there any other questions on the line? So again, let's just quickly recap what we talked about, and let's just focus on Brian's deal. So the first thing that you need to do is understand the area, what exit strategies Elgin supports, okay? And we're gonna give you those in ChicagoDealVault, okay? So we analyzed over 300 areas. So I'm gonna show you area reports. I can quickly type in Elgin, and I'm going to show you Elgin right here. Elgin, South Elgin. So it's a B neighborhood. It's good for cash flow. And that's all. I mean, you can go into the details of it, but right off the bat, it's a great area, B neighborhood. And once you understand the area, you need to make sure the location of the property is in a quiet neighborhood and know your numbers, okay? So you've got to hit the ARV correctly. So you need to know your due diligence on the ARV, because you're going to take the ARV times 70% minus the rehab to know your max allowable offer. Very critical on how much you need to make an offer for. And obviously you need to understand the scope of work. Ideally, you do light to medium rehabs, less than 50,000. This is by far very rare, okay? When you find a cosmetic rehab, it's just a home run deal, okay? And then if you need funding, private money lenders are the best source. We're gonna fund your deal if you become part of the cash flow inner circle. And to stand out among other investors, earnest money, 10,000, close in 2 weeks, waive all contingencies, meaning that you're buying the property as is and that you are waiving the attorney review and inspection. In my personal opinion, I think you can get away with leaving that contingency, the 5-day attorney review and inspection. I would personally not remove that one. I would just increase the earnest money and waive, obviously, the mortgage contingency, because we're closing in 2 weeks, paying cash using a private money lender, okay? So congratulations again to Brian. That's a home run deal for a rental. What is the project? What if the project takes 9 months to complete? Okay, so yeah, we can extend the loan absolutely, but you're gonna need to pay 2 extra points, okay? Meaning 2% of the total loan amount. So we can extend that, but there shouldn't be a reason for you to extend it because you wanna focus on cosmetic to medium rehabs, okay? The money is not on the rehab. So you should complete a project rehab-wise in about 2 to 3 months plus market time. So it shouldn't take you more than 6 months, especially in a seller's market. And right now the rental market is super strong as well. So I don't see why it would take more than 6 month term. So stay away from gold rehabs, stick to medium and light rehabs. So again, congratulations, Brian. I'm gonna remain on the line for the next couple of minutes. I'm gonna post the forms again for the wholesale. If you wanna join the wholesale, we meet every Tuesday at 6:30, and also the profiling form for the cash flow. We meet on Sunday at 1 p.m., okay? So what does wholesale mean? That means that you get a property under contract, you're not purchasing the property, you're just reassigning the rights of that contract to an end buyer, a cash buyer or an investor, okay? And then you make a profit. So if you get it under contract for 90,000 and then you reassign the rights of the same contract for 10,000, that's your wholesale fee or your assignment fee, 10,000 for instance. So the end buyer is gonna end up paying 100,000 for the property that you got under contract for 90,000. So the difference is your profit. So that's wholesaling. So Luz, we meet for the wholesale, we meet on Tuesdays. Wholesale Inner Circle, Tuesdays, 6:30. I'm putting these on the chat. And Cash Flow Inner Circle, we meet on Sunday, 1 p.m. Okay, and guess what? In April, second week of April, we're bringing both groups together. We're gonna do a live event mid-April, so all of you get to know each other. It's gonna be a really cool networking event. I'm so much looking forward to that. So are there any other questions on the line that we can help you? If you need any resources, anything that you need, please let us know and then we'll help you. Anything that is preventing you from being more successful, let us know.
Hugo, one more question. These private lenders, they lend the money based on the value of the property or on the credit of the buyer or the person that wants to purchase that property?
Great question, Sam. So this is asset-based, right? So we're going to be looking at the deal itself. We obviously want the buyer to have some reserves because they might need to put at least 10% down for the purchase, depending on the rehab scope. And they need to have reserves to pay the interest for at least 6 months, right? Because we're going to give them the money for the purchase and for the rehab. But what about the interest, right? You're going to need to pay interest and carrying expenses such as all the utilities, gas, electric, water. So you're going to need to have at least, let's say, $1,500 per month times 6. So you're looking at about 10,000 of reserves for carrying cost, meaning that you're paying interest on this loan, but it's asset-based. We don't care about your credit, okay? Because we're going to put a first position lien on the property. We're going to do assignment of rents, and we're going to be the beneficiary on the insurance. Okay, and then you're going to sign, the buyer is going to sign 3 documents: the note, the mortgage, which gets recorded, and the personal guarantee note. Okay, because the loan might be given to your entity, but you're going to be the personal guarantor on the loan.
Okay.
So very straightforward. Go ahead.
Yeah, the reason I ask you, because I have a friend, he has a 500 credit score, but he has a $35,000 cash. Assume that he comes and buy that property for 105,000, then he can get funded for the purchase, right?
Of course, yeah, of course. We don't care about the credit. The credit is going to make a difference when it comes to refinance. The credit is going to drive the terms of your refinance loan. So the better the credit, the lower the interest rate that you're going to get on the back end when you roll that loan into a rental loan. Okay. That's the only thing, but we're going to make sure that you have enough back-end equity, 25 to 30% equity, for you to be able to refinance. Just like Brian, right? He has about 25-30% equity, so he's going to be able to refinance like no problem. Okay, so he can use a commercial program to refinance under his entity, or a residential program to refinance the property under his personal name. The only difference is that residential, they ask you for more documentation, taxes, W-2s, and then the interest rate is super low, like in the threes, low threes, versus commercial program, right? You're going to be in the mid fives, but the loan is under your entity. It never shows on your credit report. So there are many advantages and disadvantages of both, but we're going to help you through the process. The first step is to find the deal, focus on finding great deals like the one Brian did, less than $200,000 purchase price, light to medium rehab, and making sure that you have enough equity on the back end. Okay, so we're going to help you with the number, with the analysis of the property if you need to. Obviously, when you become part of the cash flow inner circle, we're going to help you and make our resources infrastructure available to you. So again, this is the link. Go ahead, Sam.
So we may get in trouble when refinancing and paying off the private lender because of his credit.
It's not that you're going to get in trouble. You're not going to get the best rate. So if you have a 500 credit score, you're not going to get the 5.5 interest rate. You might be getting 6.5, close to 7% interest rate. But you're going to be able to refinance because it's going to be asset-based. Again, they want to make sure that you have enough equity, so they'll give you the loan under your entity. They're still going to run your credit, and that may drive the interest rate, but still, you will be able to refinance. That's why we're going to vet the deal, make sure that you have enough equity on the back end so that you don't run into any issues.
So no 2.75 interest or 3%.
That is if you go the residential route.
Yes, okay.
But they're going to ask you for reserves, 2 years of tax returns, 2 years of pay stubs. It's a lot more requirements for it.
Because investment. Okay, correct. Great, thank you.
Okay, so Lisa, yeah, absolutely. She wants to see the whiteboard. Let me make sure that you can see that. Okay, so what I was showing is pretty much the analysis for Brian's property. Let me know, Lisa, if you have, or John, if you have a question on the numbers. So we had a great audience today. I'm super excited. Lisa, John, did you have a question on the numbers, on the analysis?
Thank you, Hugo. Hi, everyone. Just real quick, sorry, logged on late. Just what was his offer? That's all I'd like to know.
Okay, so it was listed for, let me pull it up on the screen, make sure I give you the numbers. So original listing price was $159. They dropped the price to $139. He got it on the contract for $121. Okay, but it's an MLS deal. He had to put 10,000 earnest money, waive all the inspection and contingencies from the contract, like the mortgage and the attorney review. He closed in 2 weeks, so obviously using private money lending. So that's how he was able to stand out from the competition.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hugo.
Oh, my pleasure.